In the 1800s, the honeybees that were introduced in 1822 have become established throughout much of Australia. They interact with Australia's natural environment because they collect nectar, pollen and propolis from many native plants. Some people are concerned about the effect honeybees may have on our native insects, plants and animals.
In the case of migratory, commercially managed honeybees, there is no evidence of fact on which to support a hypothesis that bees are having an adverse effect on our native plants or animals. Compelling evidence that the practice of commercial migratory beekeeping is compatible with the objects of nature conservation. Both the flora from the native plants and flora from elsewhere have varying concentrations, varying levels of concentrations of sucrose in the nectar. When the sucrose concentration in nectar falls below a certain level, it becomes unattractive to honeybees to gather. And we find that with, say, some of our eucalypts in the wintertime, some of our banksias in the wintertime, other flora in the wintertime, for example, have sugar concentrations that are quite low, below 8% in fact, which is the threshold of attractiveness for honeybees. And even though that sugar concentration is low, it is still attractive to native fauna.
Feral honeybees establish nests in tree cavities, and this is of concern to some conservationists.
Well, the regent parrot is a highly endangered bird in New South Wales and Victoria, and there was the thought that the bees' nesting places might be the same as where the parrots nested, and therefore one of the processes that was sending the birds into decline might be the bees nesting in the same holes as the parrots would. There's definitely a lot of bees down living in that area. I'm talking about the area in Wyperfeld National Park, just south of Mildura. We found about 70 to 150 colonies per square kilometre, which is a lot. However, we also found about 2,000 hollows per square kilometre, and only 2% of those were occupied by bees. So, although there's a lot of bees there, there's also a lot of holes left for parrots. We also found that a number of the holes that were occupied by bees could not be occupied by parrots, so perhaps the pressure from bees is not as great as some people have feared. Some of the holes which the bees were living in were only about that big, the entrance hole, and the parrot can't get through that hole.